All right, it is March 3rd, 2025. We're gonna call this finance committee meeting to order. Present are council members Barker, Cost, Shute, Hauser, and Marmy. First item is that the unappropriated balance is at $365,731. And the budget stabilization fund stands at $698,128. First item on the agenda is a request for appropriation in the amount of $1,500.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We at the fire department received a visit and a generous donation from VFW Post 85 to the fire department. If somebody is asking for that money in return. Second.
Motion by Barker, second by Hauser. Questions and or comments? As a member, VFW, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
So, any further questions or discussion? See none. All those in favor, send us on the full council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Jason. And with that, this finance committee meeting stands adjourned. Next up is service.
Okay, well, some call the service committee meeting to order. Those friends of myself, Raph, Neely, Toss, Klein, and Troop. First, consider resolution 25-11. A resolution expanding the existing designated outdoor refreshment area, also known as DORA, in the downtown Newark, and enacting regulations with regard thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what you have in front of you is a continuation of and an expansion to the DORA. So state law requires that every 5 years, the legislature has to pass a renewal to the DORA. So we're coming up on that 5-year mark. And as we did so, we spoke with, the DORA board spoke with some of the downtown businesses, and we made some recommended changes to the DORA. The first change that we're proposing is an expansion of the boundaries. So we'd like to move the boundaries 1 block to the west. So right now it's on 4th Street. We would take it up 5th Street to Locust. That way we're bringing in the Mexican restaurant and the butcher shop that are on West Main Street. Secondly, we've made the hours uniform. One of the I guess points of contention or confusion that we had is, as it currently exists, the days and the hours of when the DORA is in operation kind of vary. So it's kind of confusing to the operators when they're in place. So under this, we just made it every day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. But what we added in is we gave the mayor and the chief of police the authority to suspend the DORA if need fits. And then there's a couple other small changes that we made in regards to we clarified what types of cups can be used in the DORA, and then we've also eliminated the use of wristbands. So that's basically, other than those 2 things, that basically staying as it was.
The 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. thing, is that, so we're doing Monday, basically 7 days a week, 10 a.m., 10 p.m.
Correct.
Very consistent
Correct.
for both users and participants.
Correct.
Is that pretty standard across the board with other communities?
Well, we listen to our business, so we listen to our business people, and that's kind of what they recommend. So that's why we look for those hours.
Right. And I know it can be suspended by the mayor and the chief of police at all, so it can be expanded for certain events.
Can it be expanded? I don't know if we can.
Or specific events.
I'm sorry, you're asking if we can expand it beyond specific?
Yes.
I don't know if, I guess that'd be a question for the law director on whether it can be expanded beyond what's written in the legislation. But it can be suspended by the mayor or chief of police. So say that there was a particular date that you didn't want to have a DORA on. The mayor or the chief could say, well, we're not going to have it on this day, or if there was some sort of problem taking place, they could.
Okay, that's all. Any questions for the committee? Questions from the audience?
I just took a look at that area and I'm kind of confused as to where they're gonna have the seating. Problems in some of the
Where are they
areas,
gonna have the what?
and do I need to do my address and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Problems
yeah.
where they, 237 by Rochelle Bullen Smith. So anyway, I'm kind of confused with the layout of where they're going to have seating because I find a big problem with some of the areas that have already are allowing seating, where they also have lights and things like that that are tripping hazards for some people, and make it very difficult for people that might be in wheelchairs or and that sort of thing. And looking at, I'm assuming you're largely doing the arcade area or this.
That is,
Well, I'm confused as to what you mean by seat.
Where you're
The
gonna
door
have
has everything.
restaurant space.
So the door doesn't have anything to do with seat.
So, you're going to be serving food outside.
The door allows people to utilize the door area as a place where they
I
can,
don't understand what that means.
as a place where they can travel to and from with alcoholic beverages. In the appropriate container. Doesn't have to do anything with outdoor seating. We have other,
So it's not, going to be seating like a lot of areas downtown.
we have
are
seating
having
outside, but we also
And
have,
it's not really working very
we
well.
also have regulations for that, but that's not what we're talking about today.
Okay, and that's disappointing, frankly.
Well, it's just not part of the legislation. Nobody's brought forth legislation about that. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Nobody's brought forth legislation to further legislate outdoor seating in restaurants.
Well, I don't think, we need that much in the way of outdoor seating in terms of the restaurants in that vicinity. As I said, some of the areas in the downtown area, are kind of tripping hazards, frankly.
Did you have any questions about the DORA legislation?
What exactly is DORA?
It is a downtown, go ahead.
so basically, what all the DORA is, and its simplest term, is an exemption from open container law. So
Oh, exemption.
yeah, so what it gives certain geographical boundaries. And you have to meet certain specifications, so like, it has to be served in a clear plastic cup. Hours of operation, but all it is just, in its simplest term, is an exemption from open container laws. So you could get a drink at a restaurant, stroll around the square, see the sights, and not be subjected to any sort of criminal penalties for that.
Isn't that a problem in terms of when, as a place has a liability and has had liability for many, many years, if they overserve people? How do you keep track of that?
Well, that's a totally different section of law over serving someone. It has nothing to do with the door.
It should.
All of the permit holders are still, all of the liquor laws apply to them, which would include over serving someone. So if someone overserves
Yeah.
them, then they would be responsible through their liquor control.
But if they're going from place to place with that alcohol and going to another place, it's not a problem.
It hasn't been, no, it's been very
Because you haven't
successful.
done.
Yes, we've been doing it. for
Yeah, we've
5
been
years.
doing that for 5 years and there's countless communities throughout Ohio and the rest of the country that have been doing that very, very
Yeah,
successfully.
I've seen that.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
may I?
Yeah.
DORA stands for Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area. When the safety director is indicating the open container law. Folks can go from restaurant to restaurant and drink and indulge as much as they desire. During these events that they allow the door to operate, it just means that they don't have to try to chug it before they go to the next place. So they can actually carry their cup with them and they can go from one to the other. However, the bartender or whatever facility still has the legal liability and obligation that if they feel that somebody has been overserved already and indulged too much and is intoxicated and should not have any more, they still are under that same obligation. As if they just came from one establishment to the next inside their facility. All this allows them to do is walk outside with a cup from one to the other.
That's a problem. And some cities, including Columbus, cover that by doing things like having punch cards, for instance. And restrictions that way and control how many places can serve alcohol. And I don't see those sort of controls with this, there's still liability and it confuses that issue.
You haven't read it. There are only certain facilities that belong to the door. So it is restricted.
So how many people own, how many places are,
I don't have the exact count, but I know that they are restricted. You have to be a member of the DORA in order to participate.
so is a club, outdoor club of sorts?
No,
Mr. Army, all the permit holders are listed in.
Are they?
legislation.
Okay.
So,
Okay, where do I find that?
it's right there in the legislation.
Would that be in the notes?
you have the council clerk send that to you via email,
That'll be you.
but no, it's not me. I'm the council clerk,
A council clerk.
yes.
Where would I?
The council, that's Amy,
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 yes.
and do you have a phone number for that?
I don't off the top of my head, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so
So
if I
you'll be
call
your
the city.
council, right?
Mhm.
She'll be sitting in that chair in the middle, you can talk to her personally. We'll get forward after.
That'd be me.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
thank
the
you,
clerk of council.
thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll offer motion.
Second.
Motion by Neely, seconded by Lon. Any questions from the audience? Questions from the committee? All those in favor of passing this on to council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same, opposed, same sign. That will pass with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Up next, ordinance number 25-08, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 134 East Main Street, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 054-186858-00.000, number 054-186876-00.000, number 54-186864-00.000, number 054-186870.00.000, and number 54-195762-00.000, from that of MD, medium intensity business zoning district, to DC downtown zoning district, zoning board of the city of Newark, Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As normal,
Please don't ask me to read that.
I was going to ask you how many zeros you just read.
On bonds.
But as normal, I ask you just to pass this on to the planning commission. We'll take a look at it, we'll meet with them, we'll come up with an opinion on what we think. And then we come back with a recommendation.
Any questions from the committee? Questions from the audience?
Motion.
Motion by Neely. Seconded by Blind. No questions, comments, all in favor of passing this on, signify by saying aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. That will pass with a vote of 5-0. Thank you, sir. Next ordinance 25-09, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 330 Thornwood Drive, City of Newark, Licking County, Ohio, pass parcel tax ID number 054. -2167020-00.000, from that of MFC, multi-family condo zoning district to MFH, multi-family high-rise zoning district, zoning toward those in the city of North Ohio. 30 Plumwood Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I took an opportunity to introduce, I think, every member of council, Mr. Scott Hartley, who represents the Vista Group. This is going to be phase 2 of their development. We didn't do the zoning change prior because we didn't know which way everyone was going to go. We still don't, but they're offering to head back 8 acres around, so the city can figure it out. Again, I'd ask you just to pass this on the planning commission, we'll get an opinion on it, get it back.
Very good.
Second.
Motion by Neely. Seconded by Blind. Questions or comments from the committee? Questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing this on, signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion will pass with a vote of 5-0. That's the ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 360 Plumwood Drive. City of Newark, Lincoln County, Ohio, parcel tax ID number 054-216624-00.000. From that of MFC, multi-family condo zoning district to MFH, multi-family high-rise zoning district, zoning code of the city of Newark, Ohio.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look forward to saying. You can pass it to me. I'll come up with an opinion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Neely,
All of ours.
seconded by Blind. I know the developers in the audience. It is thus far proven to be incredible asset to the city of Newark neighborhood.
Good, very, very good community partner.
Yes, we very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Questions from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing this on, signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. That was passed, motion 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I believe that concludes service committee. Do we have? All right, that'll conclude the service committee meeting for this evening. Up next will be capital improvements.
Call this meeting of Capital Improvement Committee to order. Present, myself, Councilmember Rath, Labutus, and Neal. First item on the agenda is resolution number 25-12, a resolution appropriating monies for the current expenses of the municipal corporation. Director Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for one mower.
Is he here?
Yes. Well, what?
He left the room, so I didn't call him.
This is for the cemetery, Parks Cemetery. It's one mower. Really, the need is about 4 there, but we're gonna settle with 1. And as the year goes on, if things look pretty stable, I'll be back to ask for another one. This is kind of a way to kind of control expenses.
So this is one moment.
This is one.
Okay.
Wayne motion.
Second.
Motion by Labutus, second by Neely. Any other questions or comments? Questions from the audience? All those in favor of passing this on to full council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is an appropriation of $33,000 for buildings ground maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for what we now call the tower building. This will allow us to individually climate control our floors. Sean Mechanic was doing that in the basement, first and second floor. It's too hot, turn it down, turn it up, but that building over there will be a little better regulated than this one. with this addition.
Any other questions from the committee? Motion. Motion by Mr. Rath, second by Mr. Labutus. There are questions, comments? All those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And our final item is appropriation for land purchase in the amount of $30,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the last piece of property in the Don Edwards complex. The city doesn't own and that the county doesn't own. In that complex area, it's a house or residents that live in the house. I've been in contact with them 8-9 years ago, trying to get them to sell. They reached back out and they said they're ready to sell. And it just made sense for us to buy it. If you get out at the end of the high street, run that in, go to the right, there's a White House there that we own, would be used for South Newark Civic Association use. And then to the right of that, to the left of the basement is this red house. We're gonna analyze what use we could have for it, community wise, or if we don't have one, we'll tear it down, and make additional parking lot.
Motion by Mr. Labutus, second by Mr. Rath. Is there any other questions or comments? Director Rhodes? All those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Director Rhodes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And with that, that concludes our capital improvements committee meeting and committee meetings for this evening. No.
Very sneaky.